Hi everyone, it's Stephanie Weaver here in the Blue and Yellow Kitchen in San Diego, California. I've got Microwave Boy on the camera, and Daisy, the golden retriever, is snuffling in the next room. I'm sure she'll be in a moment to see what we're cooking up. I'm the author of the Migraine Relief Plan, and today I'm making corn, red bell pepper, and bacon cakes. These do have a vegan option. They're gluten-free, as all my recipes are. And the original recipe was based on a tuna fritter that my mom used to make when I was a kid. But at the time I developed this recipe, sweet corn and bell peppers were in season at the farmer's market. We're just moving into that season now, so that's why I wanted to share it with you. And so you get 3 ears of corn or 2.5 cups of frozen corn. You can use frozen sweet corn, or you can use roasted frozen corn, which adds a lot of depth of flavor, so that's really nice. And I've got 1 to 2 slices of bacon finely diced up. I've got a bell pepper finely diced up, and I've got some chives. You can use other fresh herbs in this recipe. There's a couple of suggestions, and I'll be sharing the link. And then what I did was I took half of the corn, so 1.25 cups, and I blended that with the flour, the baking powder, the egg, the milk, and it will, depending on how juicy your corn is, let me just turn this down because I can tell it's getting really hot. Oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely hot. It may or may not be like super thick, so you may have to add some milk. So mine is super thick, so I'm gonna pour it out so you can kind of see how thick it is. But when I add my these other ingredients, they're going to bring some moisture, so we're going to just kind of see. You want it to be a pretty thick batter, but not like dry. So that's why I just wanted to show you. So I pre-blended this just so we could kind of get moving, and you don't really need to see me running a blender. It's pretty straightforward. I use gluten-free flour, so this is either Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 is good, or the blend from Jean Sauvage's book, Gluten-Free Wish List, is another one I recommend. And King Arthur flour has a cup for cup that's supposed to be very good. I actually haven't used theirs, but so you have a few options. And yeah, so this is way thicker than I remember it, but I haven't made these in quite a few years now. So I'm going to stir this other stuff in, and then we're going to kind of see. And that's why I didn't want to do it in advance, because I wanted to walk you through that. So I've got my chives, my finely chopped bacon. So I prepped this stuff yesterday in the food processor. You can see that the bell pepper, which happened to be a yellow one, this looks really pretty with red bell pepper, but that's what I had. I'm going to stir it up and just kind of see how wet the batter is and whether I feel like I need to add any additional milk. I'm kind of thinking no. I think it's loose.
Can you tilt it this way?
I will, for sure. Okay, so it's loose enough. It's not super dry, and you do want it. It is a thick batter. It cooks for 5 minutes per side. So I think I'm not going to add any milk to it. We're just going to give it a shot. So I recommend about 1/4 cup, and then make sure so this is a non-stick electric skillet. I normally would cook this on the stove, but this way I can be over here showing you. A little grapeseed oil or a high heat neutral oil. Olive oil's fine. Refined coconut oil would be fine. You don't want the coconut flavor in these, so the refined one, the organic. Refined, all it just means is they kind of filter out the coconut flavor. And then we're going to go ahead and pop one of these guys in here. And you want to try to make it roundish, but it's okay if it's not. I'll just make 2 for now. And and then I'm going to set my timer. So,
how many minutes on that?
5 minutes on the timer. And if you have a brand new nonstick pan, just a tiny bit of oil, but a little bit of oil. You're not, like my mom, I think originally when she made them, they were actual fritters where she would fry them probably in like shortening or something. And then over time, everybody sort of became a low-fat person, and so she probably went to a nonstick pan when they invented those and stopped frying them. There's baking powder, so they will rise a little bit, and they are just a nice, so I love any kind of patty. So we recently made the fish burgers. I love salmon patties. I still will sometimes make the tuna fritters just because they remind me of home, and I think for my mom it was a way to stretch a can of chunk light tuna with a few other ingredients. You know, flour was inexpensive, oil was inexpensive, eggs were relatively inexpensive, and so
It's also easy to freeze and fit in the freezer.
so they're easy to freeze. So she was always looking at how can I feed this family, you know, without spending a lot of money, because you know we were always on a budget, and so we're getting, and it's always good to kind of just rotate the pan a little bit just to get that little bit of extra oil on the edges, so you do get a little bit of light frying, because that does add some really nice flavor. So let's take a look and see. That's 5 minutes. You can see the color starting to turn kind of golden on the edges, and I can see from this angle that they're getting brown on the bottom, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and flip them, and then I'm going to show you how pretty they look.
So is there any reason why you would choose grapeseed oil over olive oil? Any benefits?
Yeah, so I generally cook with olive oil, and I go through it pretty quickly. So I buy, this is a 17 ounce, really high quality olive oil from Trader Joe's, and very high in a lot of the anti-inflammatory compounds that we know olive oil is good for. I could have used that olive oil for this, but it will impart that somewhat strong olive oil flavor. And for something like this, I might not want that. I might want a neutral oil like a grapeseed, which is higher in omega-6 fatty acids, which is not a problem if you use very small amounts, but our American diet tends to have a lot of those, and it's not a great thing for our health. It's more inflammatory. So, but in very small quantities, like what I would describe this as light frying, right? We're not deep frying these, but there is some oil that's coming into contact with these. You're getting a nice crispy exterior. That's what makes them yummy, but they don't have to be deep fried. And I'm not someone, I think I've tried deep frying like twice, and I just couldn't get over like how messy it was and how much oil it took. And then, you know, what do you do with that oil when you're done? And I just kind of don't get it. I mean, I love it when I go to a restaurant. I'm never going to turn down fries or tots or, you know, sweet potato fries or anything that comes out of a deep fryer in small quantities, but it's just at home, it just doesn't really work for me. So something like this, you could also use a light olive oil if you want to get some benefits of the olive oil, or like I mentioned, there's two kinds of coconut oil. There's extra virgin that's cold pressed and unrefined, which smells and tastes like coconut, and then there's organic extra virgin cold pressed and refined, and what that means is they filter it a little bit more, so you get all the benefits of coconut oil without that coconut flavor. So a lot of people who, you know, eat paleo would use the coconut oil. So it's really a personal preference thing. Grapeseed oil is a lot cheaper than the coconut oil, so for a situation like this, I'm probably going to use the slightly less expensive oil. I do keep this in the fridge. The coconut oil is pretty stable at room temperature. It's not going to go rancid. And the olive oil, if you're not using it on an ongoing basis, you should store it in the fridge where it will like solidify, so then you have to wait for it to warm up. But we use that on an ongoing basis, so we'll go through 17 ounces maybe in 3 weeks. So that's quickly enough that it's not going bad. If you want more information about olive oil, my friends Laura Bashar and Mary Plattis wrote a fabulous book called Cooking Techniques and Recipes with Olive Oil. I learned more than I ever thought possible about olive oil and how to use it, and incredible recipes from them. I'm pretty sure you can still buy that from Mary's website, California Greek Girl. So yeah, did you have other questions? Oh, you were asking me how I would serve this as a main or a side. So 2 of these with a nice salad would be a great lunch for us, for one person. You know, you could, I suppose, if I was gonna make them like at a party or a brunch, because they can be served room temperature, they don't have to be hot. I might make the silver dollar sized and have them as a brunch dish with other things to fill it out. But yeah, it's just really like a light meal. And so any kind of vegetable side, a nice green salad, I think is how I show it on the website. Yeah, so and they're looking really nice. They're looking nice and firm. Let's take a look on the back side. You know, I can probably pull these out. Yeah, I might give them the extra minute. I mean, I've got 2 minutes on the. You kind of want to, you know, feel the tops. Do they feel like they're cooked? You want them nice and firm. You want them golden on both sides, well golden. But you also want to make sure, because they are thicker, you want to make sure you give them that 10 minutes, that full 10 minutes. So
how can you tell if it's cooked in the middle?
Well, that's what the 10 minutes does. It sort of guarantees that it's cooked in the middle, because they are a much thicker batter than a typical pancake.
So you don't like stick a fork in there?
No, you don't stick a fork in there. And like a typical pancake batter, I remember learning this in like 7th grade home ec class, which was amazing that they even taught that back then. You would pour the pancake out and you'd watch, and there would start to be bubbles on the edges of the pancake. And then very slowly you would start to see bubbles in the center of the pancake. And the teacher said when those bubbles burst and hold open, then you know it's time to flip. And that was just such a revelation for me, that there was something you could look at and see and know that the food was like giving you a hint that it was ready to be flipped. And it also told me that my mom flipped them too soon, because hers were always kind of raw, a little uncooked in the middle. She was in a hurry with 5 kids. Okay, so let's take these guys out. Look how pretty those are. Now, if I'd used red bell pepper, they would have been prettier, because you're seeing the corn, but you may not be seeing the yellow bell pepper. Okay, let me just kind of hold this up. So it is going to be kind of cakey, and but it is cooked all the way through. So I'll just eat it with my hands since I started with that. So yeah, nice and crispy on the outside.
Would you dip this in anything on the side?
Yeah, like a mustard sauce would be great.
Sriracha?
A little bit of sriracha, a little mustard whisked into mayo, maybe with a little lemon juice would be a yummy. Tartar sauce would be great on them. So what I'm getting is, the first bite is just that really sweet corn flavor, which is delicious. Then I'm getting some sort of secondary notes of a little hint of bacon, a little hint of the red pepper, a little hint of chives. I could have used maybe a little more chives. You can use a scallion in this, thinly sliced, if you want a little bit more onion flavor. They're so good. I hope you guys will check the recipe out. The link will be in the comments. Please share this if you know anybody who's getting corn in a farm box, or going to the farmer's market. The stuff's all coming into season right now, and it's just a delicious, fresh, can be gluten-free. I have vegan options in this recipe, and so please share this. Follow me as Weaver MPH, and on Facebook, Stephanie Weaver MPH. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all again soon, and be well. Bye.